Hello, my friend. I just thought, why not do this on a recording like good old days instead of trying to type this out to you. So I'll just go over this as if we're on the phone and on Zoom and explain to you what I see. So the first thing I would say is, in a practice that's growing, we want to be tracking new patients by source. So I would use this tab called New Patient Analysis. So you can like go in here and change the color to red. That way you don't forget as much. You can actually grab it and drag it and say, I'm going to put it right here, right next to yearly summary. You can even move it, closer to July or something if that makes it more memorable for you. Having said that, you've had 191 new patients this year. So that's a great number. So we can't see where they're coming from, but we can see that we're averaging 16 new patients a month. Perfect. Now, 4 doctors, 2 days, that number needs to be like 32. So about 15 new patients per doctor per month. Comprehensive exam gives you an opportunity to do what you want to do. And let's keep going. So collections has been averaging, it's been a steady increase. I don't know what happened in January. That's interesting. So January 98, 33. I would double check and make sure that number's right for you. But we'll do a 6-month review here. So you've been through June averaging 118,000 per month. Now, what you can't see is I'm also looking at last year's tracker, and we were at 692,000 per month last year at the end of June. We were averaging 115,000. So we're averaging 3,000 more a month per collection. We're up about 16,000 in collections here. So if you remember last year, we kind of had that nice, we kind of got to a place of that 115-ish number from the end of 2021. So you've slightly increased, so about a 3% growth, I guess. Maybe we're up 16,000 total. Yeah, 3,000 a month, about little less than 3% a month. So I would strive right now, if you're trying to do what you're trying to do, for more like a 10%, like a double-digit growth in collections. So let's talk about where that comes from. So your average production is 123. Okay, so we've through June produced 736, collected 708. What I would do is over here in your other write-offs, put in this column what we're giving away, what sort of credit adjustments we're giving. Let's say you've written off, I don't know, $26,000 over 6 months. It's like, I don't know, 4,000 a month. Okay, let's see how this looks. You can always widen it like that. I'm just creating something here, but let's say it's 4,000 a month for 6 months. $24,000. And now I know my adjusted collections equals my gross production. See that 732? But as it stands right now, you're collecting 96%, which is pretty darn good. So worst case scenario, you have about a 4% write-off, hence the $4,000. So it might look something like that, but you could put that in there. Okay. So production at 120, almost 123. Last year, our average at this point was 115. So you're up 8,000 a month in production. We were at $690,000 last year. So you're up $46,000 in production. That's really good. Okay. So a bigger increase in production, but not as big of an increase in collections. My guess is last year, yeah, we collected 13,000 ahead in December at the end of the year. So my guess is somebody prepaid for some dentistry to come in here. That might be the case in January. All that to say, you're on pace to collect $1.4 million. Congratulations, my friend. That's beautiful. And last year, you collected $1,429,000. The reason for that is in August, you collected $163,000. You had a $183,000 production month last year in August. So because you kicked so much butt in August last year, it meant on the year, you averaged $119,000 a month in collections. This year, you're averaging 118 so far. So on the year, not even projected to be above last year, but for the first 6 months you are. So if you can replicate the last 6 months of this year like last year, then you'll have some growth. Otherwise, you'll be a flat line with inflation. That is not considered growth. That's why we want 10% growth. So let's look at the why. Why is that happening? Hygiene is averaging 30,000 a month. And last year at this point, hygiene was averaging 41,500 a month. And the reason for that was production per patient was only 187. So we're producing more per patient. But last year through June, we were averaging 220 patients a month. So this year we're only averaging 127. So we're down 100 patients a month. So we're making the most of them, that's for sure. But for some reason, steep decline. So 30,000 in production compared to 41. So 100 patient costing us $11,000. So the good news is your production per patient is way up, but your number of patients is way down. So that's a concern. So the result of that would be like overdue hygiene patients. Why are people leaving? Why are they not scheduling? Seeing 16 new patients a month, we should be growing the number of patients we see here. So you probably have answers for that. You don't have a hygienist or whatever, but you'd be looking at, well, how many days am I booked out per month in hygiene per hygienist? So if you're booked out 3 months solid for hygiene, you need to add a day a week of hygiene. That's something we can message about. On the doctor side, it's had a nice increase the last couple months. You're at 93,000 a month in production. Last year at this time, you were at 73,000. You're up 20,000 a month in production on doctor side. On the year, 74,000. So doctor side is up. It's the hygiene that's down that is actually showing you concern and loss. Why are we up? The production per patient this year is 664. And last year you were at 439. So you're up $200 a patient. We've always talked about that, improving the dollars, the amount of dentistry per visit. And on the number of visits per month, you were at 170 patients a month last year. You're down to 141. So you're producing more on seeing less. That's a positive and a negative, because when you have an associate and you want to grow, you end up with this open time. So what we need to do is fill this open time that you guys are unfilling for doctor production. My guess is it's not filled. The doctor schedule is not completely filled. So my suggestion would be, again, overdue hygiene coming in, influx of new patients, getting to 32 a month, that sort of thing, especially if you're considering taking some time off. My fear would be that, who's doing the exams? Not you. So that means, do we maintain the same level of case acceptance here? So we just can do a quick look-see and look at Dr. June and see how Dr. Z does per patient. Awesome. He does 630 a patient. So you're doing 1,055 a patient. He's doing 630 a patient. That can't be right. 26. Oh, don't put zeros in your days here, because that lowers what the computer thinks your daily average. It works off an average there, and that's messing up your daily average. So you're averaging 4318 a day. He's averaging 3700 a day. He's actually averaging more than that. Okay. All right. So what hurt you was a 970 day, might have been deliveries or something. Other than that, pretty solid month. You guys are right there. So to me, it looks like he can carry his own a bit. We had 12% open time at 500 an hour, an average. Yeah, 508. That was a loss of $12,400 in opportunity, which is 11,000 over our goal. So my big concern is lower hygiene patients for some reason and doctor open time. Deb and Briley. Okay, so 100. Yeah, she only saw 73 patients in 100 hours. So 19, this should add up to 100. 92. So maybe she's seeing new patients and they're longer appointments. Maybe that's why. And she only saw 43 patients, 68 hours. 17 plus 43. That gets us close. Again, with new patients, might be longer time there. Maybe adding for scaling. But what's happening is at 155 an hour, we want to be at 175. It's costing you $6,500 a month in open time. We'd accept 1,500. So we're 5,000 over. That's 60,000 a year lost there. And on the doctor side, we're losing 140,000 a year. So we have some efficiencies to improve upon, which is two things: butts and seats and case acceptance per visit. So let's keep talking. And I hope this was helpful and not too long. Take care.